To grade or not to grade? That is going to be our question today. It's coming up next. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to my channel and you somehow found me out there in the fishing hole called YouTube, well, thanks a lot for checking out my content today. I do hope you enjoy it. Alright guys, if you're new to my channel though, remember I do upload 7 days a week. That's right. You will find me Monday to Saturday, 11:15 Eastern Standard Time with fresh content for you every day. And of course on Sundays, time with the family and such. So in the evening, you will find me at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time or a little bit before if I can get in there. Alright guys? Alright guys, so let's get started here. We're talking about graded cards. Now, some of the pros of having a graded card mean it is protected. No more icky fingers on it. No more touching it. But at the same time, a con would be you can't really play with the card anymore. So if you're a player who just wants to play the game, then grading cards doesn't matter to you. You just want a real card you can play with. Totally understandable. And in that case, grading will probably not be for you. I've actually gone through before and cracked cards out of grading cases about 10 years ago because I wanted the cards to go into my deck. Maybe 12 years ago. But I really wanted them. Now, when that happens, you got to clip a corner of a case, make sure you crack it the right way. But that's what they're there to do. These are meant to protect cards. And for those who are investors, for those who have old reserve list cards they don't want damaged anymore, but they're not sure what they're going to do with, they may send it to one of these companies to get it encapsulated, protected, and get it graded. Okay? Now, maybe the grade doesn't matter to you. You don't care if it comes, you don't care if your beat up Mox comes back as a 3, but you don't want anybody else touching it anymore. You want to preserve what value is there, and that's why people choose to grade, okay? There's lots of different reasons why people choose. Now, it definitely does cause the card to have a premium, though, if it gets a higher rating. When you see Black Lotus's BGS 9.5 and 10, you know you're talking some serious value. You know it's going to cost money. So that's what these companies do bring to the table. But a con will be they are charging you an arm and a leg to do it. It is not cheap to get some of these cards through the system in a reasonable amount of time and not pay the piper. I myself have never sent cards in for grading. I have sent toys in. I do have some toys I had graded, some old Bumblebee Transformer toys back in the day. I have dealt with the comic company CGC before in dealing with some comic issues, getting some verification stuff done, but I never actually sent the comics in. So it's kind of amazing to see how far some of these companies have gone. But, hold on. Hold on. Almost dropped something there, don't you worry, I got you guys covered. So, the first company we are going to talk about today is definitely going to be PSA. PSA has been around the longest. Can you believe it? They have been there since the beginning, 1991, okay? Now, they were doing mainly grading of baseball cards, hockey cards, that sort of thing. But they branched into Magic when people kept sending them entries and they didn't know what to do. So they started up a collectible card division of that section that broke off and started doing these kind of card games. Now, I bet there was a lot of errors made, a lot of fakes got in there in the early days. I don't think that really happens nowadays with any of these companies, okay? Except for maybe the last company I'm going to mention because I don't know them at all. But it's kind of amazing to think since 1991, PSA has been there. So their name is long and it is recognized. There are reasons why Rudy at Alpha Investments would say, I only want to buy PSAs. I only want PSA 10. Long-standing company with a good reputation. But PSA doesn't have it all going for them. If you look at a PSA card, right? I flung some cards to the floor by accident. Take a look at that bad boy there. And you can see, case is nice, it's thin. This is in a plastic seal still because I tend not to take my stuff out too often. Nice logo there. Kind of a plain case though. The little barcode in the back, the imaging in the front. To me, this is kind of plain Jane. It doesn't look that fancy when I compare it to how a BGS, which I'll talk about next, comes up. So easy to store, they're light. The cases are durable. Almost all of them that I've dropped at some point have held up very well. No cracks, no shimmies, no nothing, which is cool. But you still want to keep these in very, and a lot of them have UV protection built in. So for protection of your cards, they're all good. All good. Prices, though, you can see vary. And I'm by no means the master on pricing. I only tell you that there was pages and pages of pricing and submission forms, depending on what you're going for. And this one has some movement. There's just a little bit of movement. I can hear it. I'm not sure if that's good or not, because if you rub it too much enough times, it might damage something, especially if you shake it too hard. I'm not going to shake pork heart. So that's PSA. Long-standing, since 91, been around a long time. Prices and turnaround are still a long time. Almost all these companies have a pretty long turnaround time, because I guess they're all busy, except for maybe the last one. Because nobody answered back my emails, but the last one I don't know them. Okay, so I'm not going to put too much stock in it, but I'm saying for an encapsulation process, maybe that's what it's worth it, okay? So that is going to be PSA. Now, BGS, okay, BGS has been around, we're talking since 1999. So they've been around a very long time as well. Now, BGS cases are a little bit thicker, for sure. I do like their process of the nice, like, almost like a metal strip with the emblazoned piece in there. I like that. I personally like subgrades. It lets me kind of know where the card is. I have nothing against PSA cards. I'm just saying I personally like subgrades. So this one here is a lodestone bauble, and it actually got two 10s, if you can believe it. It has a surface of 10 and a centering of 10, but its corners got 8.5. By the way, there's no movement in this one, and its edges got 9.5. So if that corners had been a little bit higher, which I'm looking, I can't see anything wrong with the corners, but I was not the professional grader who did this. And some people, by the way, will crack these open and resend them in if they didn't like the grade they got. They will try again. I've heard of that. So it's kind of crazy. You know, you got two 10s. Why can't I get higher? I would not complain with this rank. But BGS, I like the case. I like the style. They have massive turnarounds of up to 180 to 300 days to get your cards back. That's what they're stating. I've heard as long as 2 years in some cases. I'm not sending a card out and hoping it returns 2 years from now. I'm not doing that. Now, in some cases, PSA and BGS have walk-ins where you can actually go in, get the card graded, okay? They also show up at shows sometimes and do raw grading. That is awesome for these companies to do, especially BGS, because they guarantee the raw grade they put on it at least. I like that. If I'm at a show, I can put some cards and get a little bit, at least some protection on it, and know that somebody's looked it over to make sure it's real, which is the most important thing. And again, BGS had problems at the beginning with some bad grading process and some cards being rebacked, and especially with collector edition stuff, because they didn't know that much. Almost all these companies now, they're pro. They know what they're doing, guys. They really do. And you can look forward to a nice, protected card that has value, and the value does increase. BGS, PSA, I don't care which one of these two. They both, I mean, all these cards seem fine to me for what I'm doing, as I'm an investor, but I'm not sitting there going, oh, I've got to have it as a perfect 10. No. It's encased. I'm cool. I bought these because they're old cards I liked, right? So they've been around a long time. Not as long as PSA, but they still have a great reputation, okay? These are considered the two big boys. Now let's get to the new guy, the new kid on the block. Let's jump over to CGC. Now, CGC has been around a very long time in the comic world, okay? CGC came on the scene in 2000. But for comics, they're like the go-to. I've always known them as the ones to go to for comic books, okay? When I collect my comics and looked at them, those are the ones I always saw in the stores, so it's a name that sticks in my head. So I get it, and I understand them, and I can respect what they do. But now they're trying to branch into Magic cards. They're trying to get in there, get a piece of that pie. Remember, all these companies, from the pricing you'll see when you go and look yourselves and see the price I put up there, they're expensive. None of these are cheap choices, okay? None of them. And because of that, they earn your respect going, whoa! And that's why people ask for a premium on these cards. If I'm spending 30, 40 bucks a card, I have to get that money back plus the shipping. I'm adding 50, 60 bucks to the card right there. And when you're sending an old expensive card, they charge you a premium for sending an old expensive card. Remember that. You're paying for that privilege and premium. Not everyone cares about that. You just want to play the game, play the game. But I'm letting you know this is how the system works. Okay, you have to fill out submission forms. You got to put this stuff in, send it in, and let it go. So, in terms of CGC, they're the new kid on the block in the year 2000 trying to get into this stuff. Only in the last, year and a half I've seen their cards. Maybe even less than that. So they are very new to getting into Magic. But they have a history and track record of authenticity. Their guys will know what they're doing. So I have no problem saying, yeah, I'm sure they'll make some mistakes too. But CGC will probably stick around doing this for quite a while. Now the last one I want to mention has only been around since 2018. Okay? And that is going to be MTG Grade. I do not know them. I'm not going to speak for them. Nobody here got back to me on emails. But I do like the fact how their hollow thing looks. I think it looks very cool. I like the different style of case. very thin, ultra thin. A little bit of movement. No subgrades. This one says 10. This one says 9. They do have barcodes, and like the little coding thing. Their website I found very rudimentary. And that's what you're going to get with a lot of the new companies, okay? It doesn't mean if you saw them at a card show, I wouldn't trust. Like, I would trust them to encapsulate a card in front of me. But I'm not sending a Black Lotus into any unknown company that hasn't been at this for a very long time. You want companies like this to be around 10, 15 years. You don't want one guy who ordered a whole bunch of cases doing it from their basement and trusting them with your gold, right? It's just not going to happen. But these are the companies that are out there right now doing this job. And depending on where you are on the pro-con side of things, you may be sending cards in. Maybe you don't want to send cards in. I would love to hear what people think, though. I would love to know what you're up to out there in the card grading world. Do you own graded cards? Have you sent graded cards in? Have you had good experience, bad experience? Have you come across fakes? Let's talk about this as a discussion, guys. Put those comments in the comments section below. Can't wait to hit you guys up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Grading or not grading, it'll be up to you. But me, I just want to play, man, so I don't need to grade anything right now. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. This is MTG Moxman. See you all tomorrow for, I guess, tomorrow will be a very special video. All right, man. See you guys later. Hey, guys. Big shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your continued support. And, of course, yes, for those who asked, I will be opening up Patreon in April to a few new slots. It will not be a mass opening, but there will be a few slots opening up. So you can look forward to that if you were on the wait list to get in. Thanks a lot.